One thing I want to talk about that I get asked about every now and then, songwriting in general. Uh, I get demos and I do listen to every single one, and always try to come up with some sort of good ideas for improvement. And I have a few things that I sort of run into all the time, and I thought it would be a good idea to make a short video about those because this is really common stuff, and I think about it in my songwriting as well. The more that I listen to other bands, the thing that strikes me the most is that a lot of the songs people write are like really riff based, and I guess this goes out for all the guitarist songwriters. If you write a song that's like riff based, that you've started the song with the idea that you basically have two or three riffs, and then you're just trying to make those fit, and you're trying to see what comes out of those riffs. If the idea is on the riff level, uh, then the song will end up sounding like a collection of riffs instead of being a complete uh, masterpiece. That's the natural option, of course. But think about it for a moment. If you have only like riff A, riff B, riff C, and some spin-off riffs, and then you're just rotating those around, and when you're putting them together, you're not thinking too much about the lyrics, the vocals. You're just basically adding that layer on top when you're done with the riffs. Then yeah, most of the time the result will be some sort of a riff compilation, and not so much a thoroughly thought out song. The big picture, yeah, it's all that simple. This is a band thing, and how your band is, and how it sounds, and how you would want it to sound, how you want your band to be perceived in general. So I think a good rule of thumb is to really, like, when you're writing riffs, like, don't be afraid to go really like over the top into the big picture and really think about the theme, about your sort of like fantasies and ideas about how your like band is. Try to think how you're going to make it sound that way, and then use that as criteria for your riffs. But does this really sound like my band, or how do I make this riff or this song sound more like my band? You feel me? When you have that sort of a high level red line in your songwriting, I would say that it makes it easier for you to come to terms with everything that you write and pull everything together just a little bit. Because listeners can sort of tell when they're listening to a particular song, or your EP, or your like full length. If you've been on that level, if you have that concept in your own head, and if you're able to bring that down to a song level, and every song sounds like your band, the overall sound represents you. Try to keep that like top level idea alive in everything that you do. Don't go to that. And this has to do with that riff based thing again. So if you're just dealing with the really like concrete songwriting things all the time, and you're not here thinking about the big picture as much, the thing is that everyone can hear it. But also the thing is, if you have some sort of like guidelines and ideas here on the top level, and you're doing everything with those in mind, you're doing everything with your band's general direction and sound in mind, it will start to affect the way that you approach songwriting on this level too. And that, I promise it, it's one thing that people listening to your band will hear. So yeah, in short, this turned out to be quite the rant, but the big picture, the theme, what's everything about? What does the band sound like? How do you want the band to sound like? Don't be afraid to go to that really like top level fantasy land where you sort of perceive everything through this artistic lens, and try to make everything sound like you. Concentrate on everything sounding like you. Make your stuff recognizable. Signature elements are the key. Example. Let's start with riffs again. If you write a good riff, it might be sort of like some sort of a like compilation of what you like, other bands that you've recently listened to, other guitarists or artists that you like draw inspiration from. And the riff might be good, but think, is it your own? Does it represent you? Is it recognizable? Is it interesting? Doesn't necessarily have to be unique, because like very many things cannot be unique in this day and age. But really try to like, recognizable is the best term I can think of that really helps. I usually I try to make, and not like purely like so intentionally that everything sounds forced, or like that this guy is just trying to come up with obscure stuff that like perhaps hasn't been done in this way before. But stuff has to be recognizable. The best case scenario is that when someone puts a song on their Spotify or a CD in their car, that they would know that it's your band. Has to do a lot with the big picture again, but also comes down to a really like riff based level. I'd like to hear stuff that's, when I put it on, it doesn't have to be some sort of a like whoa, like fucking mind blown instantly, but recognizable. What's your thing? Think about it. Big picture again. Then, now I've been talking about a lot of stuff that might be not too concrete, but here's some concrete stuff about finding some sort of well, alternatives for that riff based, for that really basic level. I'm like filling in the song with riffs and let's see what comes out of it approach. I have here in my notes, I've written like lyrics first. Yeah, first might not be the case, but lyrics, uh, like strong emphasis, strong focus on lyrics from the moment that you start writing the song. It might be good to have a few good lines, maybe already written, some good theme that the rest of the song relates to. Because if you're writing like the music first, or worst case scenario, riffs first, and then you're just gluing on the lyrics and the vocals on top. So try to have the lyrics and not necessarily even the lyrics. It's good to have lyrics because they bring theme, but even some sort of like vocal rhythms or some short lines in there, and keep that in mind constantly when you're proceeding with the song. How does this part, where do the vocals start? What's the balance between the riff and the vocals? How do they go together? Is it possible to have them sort of underline the same theme? Think about the accents in the song. Can there be some good like things that you could basically write lyrics and do vocals and vocal arrangement first, and then approach with guitars or other instruments? Because the thing is that lyrics are like, in popular music, lyrics are and the vocals are like 90% of everything. the cut isn't that clear in metal music, but still, I would claim the lyrics and the vocals are the most important thing. Like, funny as it is, but I think that's true. So, again, if you're writing purely riff based, you're kind of neglecting the vocal part of the song. So, really try to keep the vocals present in all your thinking when you're processing the song. It's gonna end up a lot better and sort of give you like input and interact with riff writing, with the basic instrument songwriting at the same time. I usually try to have vocals ready at an early stage, and when I'm writing, sitting here writing riffs, all the time thinking that how I'm gonna put vocals here, how I'm gonna put vocals here, sort of carry those like 50-50 at least all the time. It's a really good idea, I think. In addition to starting with more, uh, working more with vocals to get out of the riff based realm, another option is to start composing for other instruments. Start from drums, from bass. In our case, we use a lot of like piano. We have songs that like uh, our keyboard player Laura started, and then I built the rest of the song on top. Came out quite nice. If you listen to our music, a song called The Burning is a prime example of a song that's the piano parts were everything at first, and then I started to layer the other things on top. And that was a really nice experience for me as a guitar player to approach songwriting from a piano angle. Really good like exercise, I think. A lot of fun. Oh, what? Last thing, I'm gonna like try to cut it short. This video was supposed to be a lot shorter than it like became because I went on a huge rant about everything. But what's the key thing in songwriting? Every single time, like regardless if you just like made the best riff based mumbo jumbo there can be, or if you made a wholesome orchestrated masterpiece with everything in mind, doesn't matter. One thing always boils down to this: trim the fat out of your songs. Be extremely critical when you're finalizing your song. It's really easy to fall in love or for some sort of a relationship with the song or your songs in general, and then keep this little part here and keep this little part there, and yeah, the song is longer now, it's more progressive and there's more layers to it, and it's more it's nicer to have like more is more. More is not more when you're writing songs. Less is more almost all the time. Be really critical to your own songs. If there's even one weak part, let's say that you have a basic song that has like 4 or 5 parts. One weak part, no mercy. Take it off. Make it concise. Make it so that there's only strong parts, and sort of don't fall in love with your own music. Be critical, because someone else is going to be critical for you if you release a song that you've written that's 6.5 minutes when it would actually be better if it would be 4 minutes. Think about it. Thanks for your time. See you in another life.